Hello, and welcome back to week 17 of the Ready program. This week, we're going to continue with our calendar activities and our numbers and shape book. You all are doing a wonderful job. I've enjoyed watching the many activities you are sharing on our Facebook page with the calendar. I've seen some patterning with the numbers. Again, you can talk about beginning, middle, and end of the month. We're starting a new month this week, so it's a great opportunity to talk about the first of the month and that it's the beginning of the month, and the numbers at the beginning of the month are less than the numbers at the end of the month. So all the concepts that we have been talking about this past few weeks, we can incorporate with the calendar. Also, we're going to continue with my number and shape book. You all know what to do with those. Again, you're going to be talking about the numbers, number formation, counting objects to match that number. Again, you can incorporate those concepts of what number comes after that number, what number is one number greater, using the less than, greater than, more, less. Those number concepts you can talk about as you're doing that number shape book. We have a new activity this week. It's called Where Does It Go? This activity uses what we call preposition words or positional words. These are words that tell where something is in relationship to another object. Typically, these are objects that one is stationary and the other object can be moved. In this activity, you have a spinner that you're going to create with the supplies given that have the different preposition words that we are going to be introducing to your child. These words are in front, under, below, above, over, next to, on top, and behind. There are many more different preposition words that you can use, and some are similar to these. For instance, instead of behind, in back of. So these are interchangeable if you want to include those as well. Typically, your child probably is already using some of these words or understands these positional words. For instance, if you ask your child to come stand next to me, they know that they're not supposed to go behind you or in front of you. They know what next to might mean. Or if you ask them to go put something on top of the TV, they understand that positional word already. If this spinner isn't working easily for you, you can also write these words on little cards and have your child choose one to complete the activity. I've written the words here on small cards because I found it easier to manipulate than the spinner. So all the words are written on our cards, and then you just find some objects that you can have, one stationary and one that you can move. So the object of this activity is you're going to have your child either choose a card or spin the dial, and when it lands on that word or the word they chose, you're going to ask them to manipulate the object using that positional word. Some of the concepts that are positional words that are on this dial or in your cards that you create are a little bit tricky. Those are over and under, above and below. When we talk about over requires movement. So it's not just over. This is not over. This is above because it's stationary above the other object. Over is when it actually moves from one side to the other. For instance, you go over a bridge. You go over a mountain. I walked over to someone's house. Over requires motion. Above is when you're not touching the other object. So we don't talk about the horse is over the cup. In this instance, the horse is above the cup. Once it touches an object, it's on top. Once it touches, it's no longer above it, it is on top. So over requires movement. Above is stationary. Now the words under and below are quite different as well. Under, when you use that term, that position word, that means you can't see it. So the horse is under the cup. Now, if you want to talk about below, now the horse is below the cup. You can see it, it's not covered up, it is below the cup. Those concepts are a little bit tricky. And again, we're just introducing these concepts. We want to get a foundation for your child. They don't have to have have that concept mastered. We're introducing and creating a foundation so they have an idea of what those concepts look like. So even though you may hear those positional words used in the English language, they aren't actually truly used correctly, but that's how they're interpreted. So just again, we are introducing these concepts. Again, first you'll have your child show you the concept, put it in front, and let them manipulate the object. And then they are actually going to tell you where the object is, and you manipulate the object. So you would say, where is the horse? They will try and encourage complete sentence. The horse is in front of the cup. Where is the horse? The horse is behind the cup. Where is the horse? The horse is above the cup. Where is the cup? It is below the horse. So again, receptive, expressive, teaching your child these basic positional words. We use positional words all the time when we give directions to our children, and we don't even realize it. But again, the more that they get a foundation for the more difficult ones, the easier it is for them to understand our directions in daily life. The next new activity we have this week is called Guess and Measure. Your child is going to guess or hypothesize how long, how tall, or how wide an object is, and then they're going to measure it and see if their guess is correct using what we call non-standard units of measure. A standard unit of measure would be using a ruler or a tape measure and measuring in inches, feet. But what we're going to use is non-standard units of measures, and they can be as simple as the items that are included that were provided for you, using the tiles, using pom-poms, or you can use anything around the house. And you can measure anything around the house. So I have an example right here. We have a tennis shoe that is on my board here. And what you ask your child is, how many of these tiles do you think it will take to see how long the shoe is? And your child will make a guess, whatever that guess may be. And then you're actually going to take the tiles and you're going to measure the shoe and find out exactly the length of the shoe and see if their guess or hypothesis is correct. Then you might ask them how tall, or the height of the shoe. How tall is this shoe? They make their guess, their hypothesis. You might even have them write it out to the side. And then they measure with these non-standard tiles and see actually how tall the shoe really is. You can measure a real shoe. You can take your tiles and measure other objects. How many tiles do you think, how long do you think the pencil is using our tiles? And they make their guess and then measure it with the tiles. So not only are we making a hypothesis guess and doing the measurement, but we're talking about concepts of length, how long, and how tall, the height of something. You can measure anything with those non-standard units. Another concept we're going to measure is the width of something. So I just printed out a picture of a hand. They can actually use their real hand. How many tiles wide do you think your hand is? How many tiles wide do you think the computer screen is? So you're going to measure the width of something. Again, it doesn't have to be the tiles. You can, how many pom-poms wide do you think your hand is? How many pom-poms long do you think your tennis shoe? How many pom-poms tall do you think the object is if we laid it down? So again, you're going to use a non-standard unit of measure. It can be anything. I saw some of you using seashells on our Facebook page. You can use shells, you can use crayons, you can use goldfish, whatever you choose as your unit of measure, and then an object to measure. So it's guessing how many and then doing the measurement using concepts of length, height, how tall, and width. Guess and measure is that activity. The next activity we have for this week is called Break It Down Bracelets. This is a real fun activity to introduce decomposing numbers to your child. It sounds like a big word, but basically you're teaching your child different ways to manipulate objects to create a number. And we really did this activity. I'll review that one next. But you're going to create bracelets using your pipe cleaners and your beads and your tape. So this number actually is the number 6. So I've created the bracelet. We have, you're going to do numbers 1 through 10. I just have a few of them here. Your child can help make these materials. That's a fun part about it. You'll write the number. They can write the number with the tape. You'll get the beads on, close it up. And then you're going to find different ways that you can make the number 10 using the beads that are on there. So it's called decomposing numbers, different ways that you can use combination to create a set of 10. So right now we have 10 beads on this side, 0 beads on this side, using our math terms for addition. 10 plus 0 equals 10. Move 1 bead over to the side. Count the beads. 9 plus 1 equals 10. Decompose it, break it down again. Count the beads. 8 plus 2 equals 10. They learn to see there are different ways that you can create the number 10. Using our beads to count, moving some from one side to the other. This is really a fun activity because it's so hands-on and you can take these anywhere. If you're going to the store, traveling in the car, bring these along, they can wear them, and you can talk about the different numbers and how to create that number using our beads. Not only can they do addition, but you can even talk about, okay, if we have our number 10, we have our 10 beads, 10 minus 1 equals how many left? 9 beads. If you have 10 beads, you take away 2, how many do you have left? So again, addition and subtraction just by decomposing the number, breaking it down, building it up, using different combinations to create the same number. Really fun activity, break it down bracelets. The next activity we did last week is called Think It Through Math Problems. Again, we're going to use the math problems, and just like those bracelets, we're learning about different ways to create a number by breaking it apart and making a basic, simple math sentence. These are word problems, very simple for your child to use. Now, the directions, as we talked about last week, talk about using a number line on the floor, but we suggested going ahead and using your 10 frames as a way to manipulate the objects. And we talked about using our animals that we provided. I saw many of you doing this activity on the Facebook page, doing a great job. I could tell that the students were really catching on to the concept of addition and subtraction by manipulating the animals that were provided. Again, it's very important that you repeat what you just did and have them repeat back to you. Can you give me the math sentence back? 2 plus 3 equals 5. Don't just let them count it. And how many do you have altogether? Go ahead and encourage those words using our basic academic vocabulary so they can have that foundation built for them before they start school. A really fun activity. And again, like I saw, you all are doing a really great job with these activities. And I see a lot of creative ways that you're doing it differently. And we just love that. We're going to continue this week with alligator munch. It's a fun activity to compare numbers and talk about greater than, less than, and equal to. Don't forget to read the poem, as we want to talk about high frequency words and rhyming words and reinforcing that concept of which number is larger and smaller, greater than, equal to, less than. So we'll read that poem, and then you're going to go ahead and get your cards out and compare two numbers. Not only are you going to use these cards with a written representation of the numbers, but go ahead and get some manipulatives out and actually move those objects. And you can do those changing of less than and how it can move to greater than, or greater than and how it can move to less than, and how it can actually move to equal to if you take actual objects and let them manipulate them from taking one away. So if you have your objects on the table and you have a set of 10 objects on this side and 3 objects on the other, and you read it, 10 is greater than 3, ask your child to remove one object away from the greater than side. And now say the problem. 9 is greater than 3. Remove one more. Repeat it. 8 is greater than 3. Continue to remove it until you get to, oh, now look. 3 is equal to 3. It's no longer greater than. Have them remove one more from the greater than side. And now we have to change the symbol again, because no longer are the objects equal to one another. Now we have 2 is less than 3. So moving those objects helps the child see how we can move from greater than to equal to less than and compare those numbers. A fun activity, alligator munch. Also this week, we're going to review an activity called Kick the Ball on the Word. That's where you have your cups lined up with the high frequency words written on them. And your child either kicks a ball and hits a cup and tells you what that word is, or you can specifically ask your child to kick a ball to a certain word. You can incorporate rhyming words. If the high frequency word you want to target, ask them to kick the word that rhymes with and give them a word. You can also ask them to kick the word that begins with a specific letter sound. That's a way to extend the activity. If you want to do something different, you can actually take these high frequency words and you can put them on cards and tape them to your fence and have them throw a ball. If they're into baseball, have them throw a ball at a specific word, a specific letter sound. You can have them shoot water from a water gun at a specific word or a specific letter sound or a specific rhyming word. You can change up the activity, not just using kicking, but put those words in another place. And throw is incorporating our gross motor to make that learning fun and engaging. Say it, make it, write it is another activity we're going to do this week. You've been doing this one for a while. So you have your child choose a high frequency word, have them say it, have them write it, and have them make it. You can use magnetic letters. You can use Play-Doh to make the word. You can actually even find letters in a magazine that they can cut out, just different ways to create that high frequency word and say it, make it, write it. Again, you all are doing a great job with this activity. You can not only do your high frequency words now, you can go ahead and spell out the numbers you've talked about, show them the word one, have them make it and have them write it. We can talk about different letters and have them say the letter sound, make it and write it. Different ways that you can do say it, make it, write it. Our last activity that we are going to do this week. We are ending our Ready program with week 17. Please be on the lookout for an email coming to give you information about our end of the program celebration that will be happening sometime in March. An email will go out, and we're looking forward to that celebration, celebrating your child's success with the Ready program. You all have done an amazing job. I just started and I've really enjoyed following you all on the Facebook page, seeing the creativity, seeing your children learn. I'm just so impressed with what you're doing, and just keep it up throughout the summer. It's really, really exciting to see that early learning going on and that building of a strong foundation before your child starts school. We'll see you again soon.